Hello, I'm Jessica Lewis. I'm the founder of a company called Sculpt Your Life here in Delaware. And you can learn a lot more about me if you follow me, like me, Google me across all social media, or the easiest way is to just get onto my website. The name of my company is Sculpt Your Life, spelled the way you'd expect it to be spelled, but here's my web address. I wonder if you can read it. It's www.sculpt, S-C-U-L-P-T, urlife.com. Frankly, 17-something years ago when I went to get the domain, the standard way of spelling Sculpt Your Life was already taken, so I had to get a little snazzy on you. Anyway, so I am a lifestyle coach, and that means, as a fancy way of saying, I'm a personal trainer and a nutritional counselor and a moving meditation instructor. But relevant to why we're here today is that the absolute favorite style of meditation that I practice on a very regular basis, like daily, is something called Chih. That third little word is pronounced cha, like chuck wagon, although it's spelled like C-H-I-H. It looks like it should be pronounced Chih, but it's pronounced cha. And Tai Chi is nothing more than a moving mindfulness practice. It's been labeled as such by a number of our most well-respected medical authorities. It has a lot in common with all the different styles of Tai Chi out there. You know, you can probably find about 50 different kinds of Tai Chi classes out there if you go looking for one. You have to be careful which one you want, because you can get like 50 different kinds of Tai Chi. But what it doesn't have in common with pretty much all the other styles of Tai Chi is there's no martial application whatsoever for Tai Chi. It's simply a way to activate and circulate the energy that resides in your body your whole life more. So, for instance, if you're ill, perhaps you don't have enough Chi flowing throughout your body. So Tai Chi helps more Chi flow. Or perhaps you have an injury. Let's say you have an injured shoulder. It's like you have a little log jam in the river that is the meridian that runs down that arm. Tai Chi kind of blows through the log jam and helps injuries heal. And then, here's the big distinction between Tai Chi and all the other Tai Chi practices in the world. Between each one of the movements, there are moments in which we simply come to rest and feel our feet touching the floor. And during those moments, the Chi that you've just activated and circulated actually settles down in the marrow of your bones. So not only does Tai Chi have a profound effect on your immune system, but although they haven't done a study on this yet, I don't think it's an accident that a lot of longtime Tai Chi practitioners report having profoundly improved bone density. Cool, huh? So anyway, why don't we just get down to it? I've been here week after week after week on the live stream at Cancer Support Community. But last week, I went to my annual International Tai Chi Teachers Conference. And we spent a huge quantity of time talking about physics, of all things. But if you think about it, Tai Chi has a lot to do with physics, because we know from physics every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And we're going to get into that a little bit more when we start the practice. But first, let's find that comfortable rest position that works for you. It's different for everybody, that we're going to utilize both before and after every single one of the movements. And we'll also utilize it for a few minutes now to do a little mindfulness, and a few minutes again at the end to do a little more mindfulness. So put your feet in some sort of comfortable V shape, any shape in which the heels are slightly closer than the toes. Whatever works for you is fine. Go ahead and find that spot. Here, I found my spot. Now we want your weight to really be spread out across the soles of both your feet so you can really feel your feet touching the ground. So just let your knees be soft. Just let them soften up. Allow them to be soft, which is different from bending them. Remember, no martial application here. This is just moving mindfulness. Feel the softness in your knees. Let your knees be spongy. Spongy. And when you do that, do you feel your weight suddenly spreading out all the way to the margins of your feet? I do. And now the hands. All right, so just let the arms hang down from the shoulders. And then just imagine someone literally lifted gently and easily all 5 fingers on both your hands. So it's suddenly as if you're resting your palms on like a big invisible cushion of energy between them and the floor. And if that just feels too woo-woo, just imagine you have suddenly have an invisible countertop in front of you. You're just resting. Just rest the palms there. And the easiest way for all this to happen, by the way, you might have noticed, is have a little softness in your elbows. Allow a little softness in your elbows. So let's just hang out here for a moment, feeling the feet touching the floor. Just noticing that density between your palms and the floor. Right? Now, while I get my singing bowl here, I want you to go inside with your mind's eye and find a little spot to pay attention to that you normally don't pay any attention to or very little attention to. Just find a spot somewhere in there. Okay, for me, I think I'm just going to focus on the soles of my feet touching the ground. You can focus on your breathing, anything else you want. All right? Find that spot. Just ask your attention to settle down there. We're going to call the bell. That's a fancy way of saying we're going to ring it. And just see if you can let your attention hang out in that spot until you hear me ringing it again. And if your mind wanders, that is completely, utterly normal. Just invite it back. Okay? As many times as you have to. There's nothing in the world. Okie doke. I hope that was a little bit fun. It was for me. How often in life do you actually think about your feet touching the ground? Even if I leave you with nothing other than that today, I'm still helping you be healthier and happier, right? So, we're going to try to get through as many of the 20 movements as we can today. We might not get through all of them. Most of the movements have 9 repetitions, but some of them have 3 sets, and sometimes the sets have 3 in them. So typically that adds up to 9, right? Yeah. Well, let's just see what happens. So feel your feet touching the ground. Feel that cushion of energy between your palms and the ground. Again, we know from physics that we're practically swimming through a sea of energy at all times, but we just can't see it. So just because you can't see that cushion of energy between your palms and the floor doesn't mean it isn't there. Right? Now we're going to begin with rocking motion. And when I face the camera, I mirror you. So when I say you're going to move this leg, you're going to move your left, but I'm going to be moving my right. So here we go. We want to step away with this leg. And the easiest way to do that is just let some of your weight ooze into the opposite leg and then step away. Yeah. Here we go. Straighten out your toes. Send your weight backwards, and that's simply a function of placing your hands back here and lengthening the knees. And now we're just going to let the weight float forward and float back and float forward and float back. Here we go, rocking motion. I often think about the reason why this movement is called rocking motion. I think it's because the arc that the fingertips trace in the air sort of looks like the runners on Granny's rocking chair. Let me turn a little sideways for you so you see it from a different view. But if you think about it, if you can visualize that your feet are suddenly those runners on the rocking chair too, you can much more easily let your weight simply shift to the balls of the feet and back to the heels. And you'll even notice how, as you shift to the balls of the feet and the knees lengthen, the heels actually peel themselves off the floor. And then the toes do the same thing. For every action, there's an equal and positive reaction, right? Just feel your weight shifting all the way to the fronts of the feet and all the way to the backs. And the hands are just going along for the ride. Look how the lengthening of the knees causes the body to rise, and that's when the hands rise. And in the back as well. I'll turn frontways again. Let's do 2 more. We did a lot more than 9. But since rocking motion is considered the warm-up, we often do a lot more than 9. We're going to just head back the direction we came from. And just float back down to the soles of the feet. Nice spongy knees, soft elbows. Just feel the body at rest. Feel the feet touching the floor. Now let's get ready for bird flaps its wings. Movement number 2 is also considered sort of a warm-up movement. So we're going to let the palms float together, especially the heels of the hands are going to be as close, maybe even closer than the fingers, right? And then I'm going to turn sideways so you can see a slightly different angle here. We're just going to let the body sink. And as it sinks, the weight's going to shift to the balls of the feet, and the heels are going to peel themselves off the floor. So here we go. And when all that occurs, it causes the little bird wings to move away from the body, and the rising pulls them back again. And now while the bird wings are out there, you're going to draw a circle in the air just with the tips of the wings and then come back. Let's do that whole series of 3 again. Here we go. Here comes the circle. Again. Again. Here comes the circle. Back to the soles of the feet, feeling the body at rest. All right. We're going to do a whole bunch of forward-backward movements. I want to talk about physics again, though. You know when you're sitting in a chair, you can feel the chair holding you up. In fact, Sometimes I teach seated Tai Chi Cha here and all kinds of places. I've taught it here a couple times in the chair. But think about how it feels in your body when you're sitting in a chair. You feel the chair holding you up, right? But again, we know from physics, as much pressure as you're putting on the ground when you're standing on it, it's putting an equal quantity of pressure back up, holding you up, pushing back up against you in order for you to stand there, right? So, just feel the body at rest for a moment. And just remember that the ground is holding both your feet up, almost like two pillars of energy right underneath each of your feet, holding you up. Okay? Now we want to put all the weight into this leg. So what we're going to do is we're just going to shift. And there's a natural sinking that happens at the same time. That helps you feel really grounded. Feel all your weight centered right over that pillar of energy holding you up. And when that occurs, this leg should feel totally empty. So just extend the knee, which is easy to do because all of the energy of the body is hanging out over here. And now we're going to put the hands up at the back of a big invisible platter that's about heart height. And as we flow forward into that front leg, the hands are going to float out over it. As we flow back, they're going to float back. Here we go. Nice. Feel all your weight flowing into that front leg and then into the back leg. Feel the pillar holding you up underneath that front leg. And then another pillar holding up underneath your rear leg. You could almost do anything you wanted out here, right? But we're just going to leave our feet on the ground. You can, however, let your heels and then your toes peel themselves off the ground. That is okay, because it's a function of the leg emptying out. And I believe this is number 9. We're going to call it 9. We're just going to rise up and place both our feet on those pillars of energy holding us up. Nice. I'm going to show you the other side from the side. All right, and when I turn away from the camera, by the way, I do not mirror. So feel your body at rest. Feel yourself being held up. Right? And then we're going to sink down and shift over to the other side now. It's probably your left side. We started most likely with your weight in your right leg. Now it's all on the left. Just extend this leg. Here we go. And now we're going to flow forward into that leg and flow back into the rear leg. Nice. You see that hourglass down there by my feet? I always have all these props week after week, but I usually forget to talk about them. What I love about the hourglass is that when the sand is pouring into the bottom, it's also pouring out of the top. Feel your weight pouring out of the rear leg and into the front, and then reverse. We're going to do one more. And then just stand up and float down. Feel the body at rest for a moment. Let's do the next movement. It's called around the platter variation. So here we go. Down and to your right. And only when you're really in your right leg, just extend the left one. I'm going to try not to step on my model of a bone out there. Hands back up to the platter again. Only just in front of the shoulder. That's on the same side as the outstretched leg. The fingers suddenly lift, as if there's a little ball of energy between them. And you're just going to guide the ball off to the front edge of the platter. Just sort of watch it drop off the edge. Nice. We're going to do one more here. We're going to float up and we're going to float down. Let's do the other side with me facing you. So we're going to sink down. Shift into your left leg this time. Extend the right. Here we go. Nice. One of the other reasons why I love Tai Chi Chih so much, in fact, I hold certifications in 3 different styles of Tai Chi, but Tai Chi Chih is clearly my favorite. Clearly my favorite. Primarily because of what I'm about to tell you. Not only are there only 20 movements, which is very user-friendly, 108 movements is a lot harder to learn than 20, but there are those moments of rest in between each movement, so you can actually mix up the order. You don't have to do them in a certain order. This is our last one. I also love these mindful moments between the movements. Let's sink down, shift back over to your right now. Extend your empty leg. It's probably your left leg. Let's do bass drum. Hands up to about chest height, palms facing each other. Here we go. And here's the thing. Not only can you do these 20 movements in any order that you like, all the research, there's been a lot of research on it, by the way, has proven that, even if you don't do all 20 movements, that's still okay. Let's say I show you all 20 movements, but 2 weeks from now you only remember 5 of them, and those are the ones that you practice. As long as you practice a lot, like every day, maybe 15 minutes, so not a lot of skin in the game, you're still going to get healthier. Let's do one more. I'll show the other side from the side. Sinking down and into your left leg. The empty right leg extends. Here we go. So we already talked about one of the ways that Tai Chi Chih makes you healthier is that it activates and circulates the energy that's already in your body better than you can do during normal daily living. And of course it makes your immune system and your bones stronger. But here's another kind of slightly woo-woo reason. Notice how every single movement has at least one body part drawing circles in the air. This is no exception. You see it? This is our last one. Nice. In fact, I'm going to mess up the order a little bit. Let's do pulling in the energy here. Looks a lot like around the platter, but with the palms up, since I'm talking about circularity. So, the reason why circles are so important here is because by nature, when you're moving in a circular manner, you're also moving very smoothly and continuously. And these are some of the governing principles of the universe. Everything in the universe is constantly coming around again, right? And softness wins over hardness every time. Have you ever stopped to think about that? That's how the Grand Canyon rock was worn away by the water. Bamboo trees bend, but oak trees blow over in a gale. The tongue outlasts the teeth. Let's float up and float down. Let's do the other side from the front. Sinking down and shifting to the left. Here we go. So when you're moving in this way, not only are you being so much more mindful of so many different aspects of your body than you normally are throughout your normal daily life, but you're moving in the same exact ways that everything in the universe moves. You are moving in a cosmic rhythm with all things. Nice. We're going to do one more. Just float up and float back down to rest. Here's another rule of physics. Do you ever stop to think about how bikers bike, especially in races? You've heard of the word Peloton, I'm sure. Very popular word right now because it's a brand of fitness equipment, right? Here's how a Peloton works. The guy out in front catches all the wind resistance. The people behind him ride in his slipstream. So when I'm showing you how to do Tai Chi, and you're moving in the same way that everything in the universe moves, you are riding in the slipstream. You're letting forces of nature pull you along. It's way easier to move that way than it is to do anything else in life. Take my word for it. Let's do push-pull. We're going to sink down and shift to your right. Let your empty left leg extend. Put your hands up by your shoulders. And just feel the forward momentum of your body pushing the hands out and the backward movement pulling them back. Nice. Here your hands are falling into the slipstream here, created by the motion of your body, especially your torso and your energetic heart down here. Every ancient culture has some understanding that there is a really important brain in your gut. You know, we always talk about gut feelings. Let's do one more. We're just going to float up and float down. Ah. The Chinese call it the Dan Tian. It's spelled Tan Tian, but it's pronounced Dan Tian. About halfway between your groin and your belly button, and about halfway between your front and your back. It's like a big ball of energy. I like to think of it as like my shower scrubby down there, sitting in the bowl of your pelvis, right? The Japanese called it the Tanden, spelled almost the same way. The Latins called it the core. No, the Koreans call it the Dan, spelled Dan, but pronounced Dan. See, all these languages are similar. The Latins called it the core, C-O-R. The French turned that word into coeur, C-O-E-U-R, which means heart. And of course, we finally figured out in this culture, in this country, that core exercise is probably the most important of all, because if your core falls apart, the whole rest of you falls apart. It's like we're just catching up with what the ancients already knew. Let's do push-pull from the side here. We're sinking, we're shifting to the left leg so the empty right leg can extend. Let the Dan Tian expand and push the hands out. Contract and pull them back. You feel it. You feel it expanding. As that rear leg expands, it pulls back on the pelvis, and it causes the pelvis to kind of tip forward. And then when you come back, the tailbone tucks under. I'll show you with my model of the human pelvis in a minute. And here are the hands moving in a circle. It's just sort of a mushed elliptical circle. This is our last one. Floating up and floating down to the soles of the feet. Here's my model. Here's where people always know I'm a personal trainer. I don't know any other Tai Chi instructors who have a model of a human pelvis in their bag, right, in their teaching bag. Here's your Dan Tian, sitting right in the bowl. Looks like a bowl, doesn't it? Right? So when you're flowing forward, the pelvis tips, it opens up. And when you're flowing back, the tailbone tucks under. And when you're flowing forward, it expands. When you're flowing back, it contracts. See if you feel that in your body when we're moving forward and back. Let's do a couple more movements where the hands are really making big circular gestures, okay? So feel the body sinking down, shifting over to your right. Let your empty left leg extend, then just turn the palms over. It's like there's a pane of glass directly in front of your body, parallel to your torso. And your hands are down here, and we're just going to trace a couple of circles on that glass. Can you see them when you're looking at me straight on here? It's like my hands are rising as if they're going to clap, but then they somehow miss each other and they simply fall. All right, so maybe the glass analogy isn't entirely accurate, but you can probably see that I'm drawing two circles in the air out in front of my body on a plane that's roughly parallel to my upper body. Let's do one more. Float up and float down to the soles of the feet. Feel the earth holding you up. And let's do the other side. If you want to get really technical about it, no matter which foot is out here, the hands do the same thing. So when the hands cross at the top, the left one is the one that's closer to your body. Remember, I'm mirroring you, so for me it's actually my right hand, but it should look like your left. Let's do one more here. Now we'll do daughter in valley. It's almost a complementary move to the one we just did. Sing to the right. Hands are going to rise to about the height of bass drum. Only, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see a different view. You don't have to switch feet. I'm just unmirroring my mirror here. As you glide forward and your dantian expands, the hands rise. They rise almost in an arc shape, you see it? It's sort of the same curve as that expanded dantian makes. And then I'll do the other side from the front. We're going to sink down, shift to your left. Let your empty right leg extend, and here we go. Here's that same plane of movement out here in front of the body, roughly perpendicular to the upper body. The hands are just tracing around a big circle here. And then scooping out the middle. Nice. See if you feel the relationship between the expansion of the dantian and the hands rising, the contraction and the pulling them down. See if you feel it. We're going to do one more here. Nice. All right, let's do carry the ball to the side, a very circular movement. Okay, I'm going to mirror it for you, and I'm going to do it in a slightly different way because I don't want to step out of the vision of the camera, and I also don't want you to step out of your ability to see me if you're doing this along with me. Okay, now here's the thing. If it weren't for these principles of circularity and softness and smoothness and continuousness, what I would about to be showing you would be carry a square to the side, not carry the ball to the side. Okay? So wrap your head around that for a minute, okay? We're just going to hang out here for a moment, feeling the feet touching the ground. Now we're going to sink and shift to your right, but we're also going to let the belly turn a little bit. You're probably going to feel your right shoulder going backwards. You might even feel your right butt cheek going backwards a little bit. And the way that you know for sure that I have turned a bit is because you probably see the words on my shirt have turned a little bit. So just place the back hand up near the shoulder. Put the other hand in front of it. It's like you've got a little ball of about the same size as when you were doing around the platter. Feel right over that right foot now. Feel the ground holding you up. This leg is so empty, it can just sort of sneak away from the body without moving any other muscles. And as we begin to shift that direction, it pulls the arms. And then when we land completely on this side, the hands rise. See if you see the square. Here it is. Down, shifting. You're not doing anything. The shifting is moving the hands. And then rising. And then shifting. But when you apply circularity, look how smooth it gets. We're just going to do 9 circles this way. Feel your weight pass from pillar to pillar. But at one point, right about here, it's equally distributed. Do you feel that? And the hands are simply tracing a circle right out in front of the body on a plane that's roughly parallel to your upper body. This is our last one, so we're just going to stand up on the leg that was already filling up and float back down to the floor. Let's do the other side. Sink, shift, and turn. And here we go. Nice. Softness, smoothness, continuity, continuousness, circularity. Nice. This is our last one. We're just going to stand up and float back down. Feel both those pillars of energy holding a little bit independently. Okay? All right. So here we go. Feel the body at rest for a moment. Just feel your feet touching the floor. We're going to sink, shift, and turn towards your left this time. This is the only movement that begins with a weight shift to your left. And that causes the left hand to rise, like I'm high-fiving the wall over there. Okay? Just leave this guy grounded until it has something else to do. Feel the cushion of energy between it and the floor. Let this leg, it's empty, right? Just sneak away from the body. Good. And as we shift that direction, it's going to pull the left hand. Here we go. Nice. We're just going to do a couple of circles like this. We're just reminding your body how to allow each arm to move independently. Now let this guy come to rest. Let's continue shifting over to the other side, and let's move with this hand. Nice. The only difference between this and carry the ball to the side is the hand simply shifts and turns slightly to face the face as it's passing by. Down here it just sweeps through the energy, and up here it just faces the face. Think of it as you're dredging your fingers through chocolate, and on the way back you can lick them. Now let this hand rest. We're going to go back the direction we started from. Let's add them both together. And as we move back, here comes the other hand. You see that? Look. Now look. If it weren't for those principles of movement, this would not be passing clouds, it would be passing rectangle. See? Straight sides, square sides, straight sides. But we add in those principles of movement. Softness, smoothness, continuousness, circularity. And it becomes two overlapping circles. You see them? We're going to do two more. Sets, I should have said. This is our last set. And we're going to end by moving back the direction we came from. Nice. Feel your feet touching the ground. That's always a great place to start, right? Okay, we're going to do a movement called working the pulley. Because again, if it weren't for those principles of movement, it would be working the rectangle, not working the pulley. I'm going to turn slightly kitty corner to you so you can really see what I'm talking about a little easier here. We're going to sink down. We're going to shift over to your right. Only then are we going to extend the empty left leg, and we're going to let the left hand come up near the shoulder. Turn the right palm over. Okay? You probably already guessed that we're going to flow forward into this empty left leg, and the hand up here is going to come along for the ride. But what we're also going to do is we're going to allow the waist to turn a little bit. And you can already tell by watching me. When that happens, it lets this elbow get behind the body, and that frees up this arm to do things back here. Okay? So just copy me, and you'll know what to do. Nice. Now, we call this working the pulley because it's as if there's suddenly two old-fashioned clotheslines on either side of your body. And the pulley in the front is roughly directly in front of your shoulders, one on each side. And the pulleys behind you are roughly directly behind your shoulders. But if it weren't for the Tai Chi Chih principles of movement, we would be making a rectangle. Two straight sides, flat sides. Two straight sides, flat sides. Good, but let's do it smoothly and continuously and circularly and softly. I think that was 9, but we're going to call this 9. And floating back to the soles of the feet. Feel the feet touching the ground. Now let's do the other side. Here we go. Ah. Now here's another little sort of aspect of Tai Chi that Tai Chi Chih has in common with other Tai Chi practices. You might feel your rear heel and your front toe want to pivot a little bit when you're doing this movement because the waist is turning. So let them move. We call this the wiggle factor. And float back down to the soles of the feet. Nice. Nice. Wonderful. Okay, let's do a movement called Perpetual Motion Taffy. It's actually pulling taffy variation number 3, perpetual motion, but many longtime Tai Chi Chih practitioners just call it Perpetual Motion Taffy. I'm going to do it one arm at a time, though, because I want you to feel the principles of movement here. It makes it so easy to do it. Remember, softness, smoothness, continuousness, circularity, and flowing from the center too. Expansion, contraction. That's another way to say that. Expansion, contraction. All right, so also one other thing I want to tell you about this movement. Do you remember when you were kids and you would get bored and you would do this? I am so bored. Oh my God, I'm so bored. Right? You would do this. You would just turn from side to side and let the momentum move your arms for you. Right? So that's basically what we're going to be doing in perpetual motion taffy with your arms. Okay, only your feet are going to be wider apart. So let's just play around with the weight shift though first. Here we go. We're going to sink, shift, and turn to your right. Notice how your left shoulder just came forward. Correct? And so it's sending a signal down this arm to just cross the belly, palm up. Now let your empty left leg sneak away from the body. It can do that very easily because there's no weight in it. And as we shift that direction, the arm's going to come along for the ride, but it's also pulling this arm across the body. And as you feel that, to have faith, not just in your weight shift, but in those pillars of energy holding you up. Feel the support underneath your left foot, so much so that your right foot can actually hover off the ground. And now your left foot actually hovers off the ground. Feel the right foot leave the ground. Then feel the left foot actually leave the ground for a moment. All you're doing is turning from side to side and letting your weight land directly over one foot. You feel it? All right, I know you got the weight shift down. We're going to add the arms here. They're going to pull apart and then switch positions and flow back together. And pull apart and switch and flow back together. And pull apart and switch and flow back together. Feel it. And if your arms and legs get confused, say, here's the thing. There's no such thing as bad Tai Chi Cha. It's all good and it just keeps getting gooder. So just enjoy the Ferris wheel, okay? It's all good. Or you can go back to one arm at a time. Nice. I'll do one more, one arm. And then we'll end by doing two arms. Feeling the feet resting on the floor. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Let's do another variation of pulling taffy. We're going to do variation number 2, wrist circles. Okay? All right, talk about energy pushing you up. I'm going to turn sideways because I want you to see this. This is the first part of wrist circles taffy. We sometimes call it wrist circles taffy. We're simply going to sink and then rise. It's a lot like rocking motion in that way. We're just coming to the front of the weight shift and the knees are lengthening. And the fingertips are simply responding to that down and up and forwardness of the body. Do you see that? Do you feel it? Nice. So now we're going to combine that motion with taffy. Okay? So here we go. We're going to sink and rise and sink and rise. We're going to sink and flow all the way over to your right leg, which sweeps the arms together. Let your empty left leg go out to the side. And when we pull that direction, we're going to wait until we get all of our weight directly over this foot, and then just stand up and float down. Feel the support of the earth under your feet. Here we go. We're going to do it again. Down and up. It's almost like you're being pushed up. Now we're going to put all of the weight on your left leg. And keep moving until all the weight has poured into your right. And then just stand up and float down. This is basically like walking really slowly. You know, you can't pick one foot up and put it forward unless all of your weight is in the rear foot first. So let's think about it that way too. Again, this is just physics. Here we go. All the weight in your right leg. All the weight will land in your left. Nice. I taught you all the taffies in reverse order today. Isn't that funny? Let's do one more set. Nice. Nice. Let me go ahead and teach you plain old regular pulling taffy now. I probably should have done it the other way around, but oh well, it is what it is. It looks, you already know it actually, you just don't know that you know it because I've been showing you the more perpetual versions of the movement. So here we go. We're going to sink, shift, and turn the body, and it causes your left arm to flow across the belly. Your right arm just sneaks up on top. The empty left leg moves away from the body, and as we shift that direction, the hands separate. And then just stand up and float down. Nice. Let's go back the other way. Nice. This is an example of one of the movements that has 3 sets. If you were to add up all the moves in all 3 sets, you'd come up with, let's see, 3 times 6 rather than 9. But 3 is a magic number, almost as magic as the number 9. So 3 threes. And this is our last one, moving back the direction we came from. Nice. Nice. I'll tell you what, why don't we end by doing one more variation of pulling taffy called anchor taffy. Okay? Again, just like walking. You put all your weight on one foot, then shift to the front foot, then shift back, shift to the right foot, stand. You're going to know what I mean when you see it. Here we go. Sinking and shifting. Good. When all the weight's in this leg, you can extend the empty leg forward. Look, we're going to leave this toe a little bit pigeon-toed, though. When we glide out and back, the front hand is just going to respond to the weight shift. And now we're going to do regular old taffy to the side. Here we go. Nice. Now let's go forward. And let's go back to the side. One of my oldest friends in the world always jokes around with me. She says, Jessica, you don't teach Tai Chi Cha, you teach the Tai Chi Cha-Cha-Cha. And for this one particular movement, she is absolutely accurate. It's almost like a very slow, very mindful cha-cha. There's a forward and a back and then a side to side and then a forward and a back and a side to side. Let's do one more set. And back again. Nice. Feel the feet touching the floor. And let's end with the very last movement. It's actually not a movement, it's a pose. It's called Cosmic Consciousness Pose. Sort of like the Tai Chi Cha version of the tree pose in yoga. In fact, you know what? I'm going to kick my shoes off because it feels a little bit better when I'm doing this barefoot. Feel the feet touching the ground. Right? And then just lift the left heel and place it down very lightly on the right ankle. There's an important acupressure point there, actually. But your weight is still evenly distributed across the sole of your whole right foot and the ball of your left. Then let your arms rise up. Feel that cushion of energy just expanding a bit, holding them up. The fingertips are overlapped. The left ones are the ones that are closer to the body. I'm actually not mirroring this because we only do it on one side and it feels too weird to mirror. Let's just hang out here for a moment. And when you're ready, come back down to rest. And let's spend a few more moments just feeling the feet touching the ground here. Find that spot somewhere in your inner landscape on which you'd like your attention to dwell. Did you find it? I did. I'm going to call the bell. Just let your mind hang out there until you hear it ringing again. Are you ready? Here we go. Well, it's been my pleasure to be here with you again today. Again, I am Jessica Lewis, and I am the owner of a company called Sculpt Your Life. It's a lifestyle coaching practice in which I help people learn how to move better, eat better, and relax better. But today I was so grateful to be able to show you my very favorite moving meditation of all, Tai Chi Cha. So if you want to learn more about me or Tai Chi Cha, please just visit my website. Here it is again, www.sculpturlife.com, or just Google Jessica Lewis, Sculpt Your Life, spelled any way you want, and I absolutely promise you I'm the first thing that pops up. It's a great website, by the way. It's just completely filled with information, including all of these movements broken down into chapters, and even a bunch of places where you can watch the complete practice standing or a seated version too. So if you don't feel stable enough to be on your feet, feel that extra added support underneath your butt. Feel the chair under your body. So anyway, thank you so much again for tuning in, and I'll see you again in about 2 weeks. Bye-bye.